Hi friends, Scott from Real Estate Japan. In today's video, I'm going to go over the wide range of apartments that you can find that are listed as 1R on our website. 1R meaning one room, so essentially studio apartments. And you'd be surprised at the variety of apartments that you can find listed as one room. So since today I'm going to cover a couple more apartments than I normally would in a video, I'm going to spend a little bit less time on each apartment just so we can get through all of them, but I'm going to link the listings down below so you can click on them and learn more about the apartments if you are interested. So let's get on to the good stuff here. And when I think of studio apartments, one-room apartments, I think of apartments that are similar to mine, about 15 square meters. Definitely not an apartment that's twice that size at around 30 square meters. So this goes to show that there is this spectrum of 1R apartments that you can find. And this apartment also is reaching these upper limits of what I would normally consider the price for a 1R apartment. 1R apartments, since they tend to be smaller, typically also will have more affordable rent prices, but this caught my eye. The rent price for this particular apartment caught my eye because I saw this and I saw 1R and I thought, wow, what's the reason behind this? And so I had to investigate, and it's a recently renovated apartment, this new flooring, it has accent lighting and recessed lighting, it has a walk-in closet, it has a kitchen with 2 burners. It has this wide vanity with plenty of storage space. It's a very livable apartment. Typically, you would see these features in a larger apartment, like in a 1 LDK that would have maybe a bedroom attached to the LDK area. And I thought that was a unique kind of spin on what people would typically imagine a 1R studio apartment to be. And moving on to the next apartment that I want to show, I chose this one specifically to really highlight the difference that you'll find in 1R studio apartments. So this is an older apartment, and if we take a look at the layout, we can see that it's much more bare bones compared to the previous one. Whereas the previous apartment had a walk-in closet, this apartment has no closet. The previous apartment had a separate bath, toilet, and vanity area. This apartment, it's all in the 1 unit bath. And then as we scroll through the photos, the kitchen does not come with a stove, so that's an appliance you'd have to buy if you want to cook at home here. But it's also 100,000 yen a month cheaper than the previous luxury high-end studio apartment. So just showing the whole range of apartments that you can find. And I'm not trying to pick on this apartment or say that it's a bad apartment. You just want to take in all the aspects of the apartment and where it exists to make your own decision on whether or not it's right for you. This apartment is very close to a station that puts you on the Dennen Toshi line, which goes directly to Shibuya or to Futako Tamagawa, which we talked about in last video. So there are definitely pros and cons to every situation, and you'll just have to kind of take in all the information and make the decision that's best for you. Next up, we have another type of studio apartment that you'll find when browsing listings in Japan, and it's a lofted apartment. So here we can see this is the main area, and this is the loft space that's above the kitchen and bathroom here. So here are the stairs leading up to the loft space, and this is a more modern design that has the stairs doubling as some storage space. I live in a lofted apartment and mine's not like this. I just have a ladder here and I had to fit my own bookshelf underneath it to make use of the space underneath, but it looks like it's all incorporated here, which I think is nice if you're looking at loft apartments. And if we go back to the listing, I just want to point out that the toilet and bath are separate. Even though this is a studio apartment, this is a nice feature to have. And just in my personal experience, I've been finding that more modern, recently built studio apartments tend to be favoring this type of construction. Another thing to point out about loft apartments, which might sound obvious, but look for pictures of the loft space and try to get a sense of what kind of furniture you could fit up there, or even if you yourself could fit in the loft space. Just speaking from experience, it takes a little bit of time to get used to. And if you've noticed in my videos that the ceiling seems a little low, it's because we're in the loft space of my apartment. And thankfully my PC and recording setup fits here, but I've seen pictures of some loft spaces where I know there's no way that I'd be able to fit a computer and a monitor on the loft space. So just something you'll want to keep in mind if you're looking through studio apartments with lofts. And next up, furnished apartments aren't specific to only studio apartments. You can find furnished apartments in all types of layouts. But I thought this was a good example to both bring up furnished apartments and the fact that this apartment has a pretty unique layout that I don't see that often. And by that, I mean there's two major things that really stood out to me when I looked through this listing. One is that the vanity is out here in the room and not close to the bathroom or in the hall. This isn't a bad thing. It's also not super rare. I've seen it in other 1R and 1K apartments before. It's just a space-saving design, something you'll want to, again, keep in mind if you're looking at 1R studio apartments. And the second thing that stood out to me was the kitchen and basically how much space it seems like there is in this studio apartment, which is a very nice thing if you like to cook at home. A couple things that stood out to me in particular is there's this extra counter space here. In studio apartments, sometimes the stovetop is scrunched right next to the sink and it's really hard to set up a cutting board or any kind of workspace. But here you have workspace and then you have a kitchen counter as well. And it looks like there's just enough space for appliances and cookware in general. And the last apartment that I want to bring up today has one feature in particular that I think is worth mentioning when talking about studio apartments, and that's that the bathroom is shower only. So there's no tub area in this apartment, and that saves some space in the room. And speaking from experience, the first apartment that I had in Japan had a tub, but I never used it. I guess I'm just more of a shower person anyways. But if you look forward to taking a relaxing bath after a long day, maybe it's worth mentioning to your real estate agent that you'd like to look for apartments that have a tub. I know I went over those apartments pretty quickly, so if you're looking for more info on any of the apartments that I covered today, look for the link down below. Click on the link to get to the listing and you'll find more info and be able to contact the agent managing the apartment. I just have to mention that the listings might be offline by the time you view this video or click on the link, so I apologize in advance if that's the case. Anyways, that'll do it for me today. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one.